I used to wear my red MAGA hat with pride, not just as a fashion statement, but as a declaration. It meant something to me. It stood for my belief that America could be great again, that we had to take back control, stop being pushed around, protect our borders, protect our jobs, our way of life. I was a veteran, a father of 3, and I believed in what that hat symbolized. I still remember the first Trump rally I went to back in 2016. It felt electric. I was in a crowd of people who finally sounded like me, who were fed up with the lies from both sides. Trump wasn't polished, but that was the point. He didn't care about being politically correct. He said what we were thinking, and he said it loud. I was hooked. Over the years, I voted straight red. I followed the news from the sources I trusted: independent voices, podcasts, blogs, and the occasional fiery segment on cable. I defended Trump at Thanksgiving, on Facebook, at the mechanic's shop. I argued with old friends, lost a few along the way, but I stayed the course, because I truly believed he was draining the swamp. Until last week. It started with a tweet. A screenshot. Really? Something about Jeffrey Epstein's client list being released, and people expecting it to shake the whole system. Names of powerful elites, politicians, celebrities, and supposedly, Trump's name was nowhere to be found. At first, I was relieved. Honestly, I was proud. I thought, see? He wasn't part of it. He's clean. But then came the video clips. Trump being asked about the list and waving it off. People don't care, he said. It's old news. And something about how he knew Epstein like everybody else. That hit me sideways. Because here's the thing: I cared. We all did. For years, people like me were screaming about that island, about the powerful abusing the innocent. We shared posts. We said, "Where's the list?" We believed Trump would be the one to shine a light on it. So why? Now, when he had the chance to demand justice, did he just shrug it off? At first, I tried to justify it in my head. Maybe he's playing 4D chess again, I thought. Maybe he's staying quiet for a reason, letting others dig deeper behind the scenes. That's what I told myself anyway. But then I started scrolling through the same forums and comment threads where I used to find support. The places where patriots shared truth when the mainstream wouldn't touch it. And what I saw was different this time. People weren't just asking questions, they were angry. Real angry. One guy posted a video burning his MAGA hat in his backyard. Said he felt like a fool. Another woman I followed for years, a nurse in Georgia, proud Trump voter, posted a long thread about how she cried the night she saw that clip of him brushing off the Epstein list. She said she thought he'd fight for the children, for justice, for accountability. And now, he just sounded like every other suit in D.C. It made me sick to my stomach, because I realized I'd been feeling the same way. I didn't want to admit it, but that hat I'd worn proudly for years, it started to feel heavier somehow, like it didn't belong on my head anymore. And that feeling scared me, because when you build your whole identity around believing someone stands for truth, what happens when they start sounding like the people they promised to fight? I went back and watched some of his older interviews, the ones where he talked tough about taking down the elites and fighting for the forgotten Americans. And then I watched that new clip again, the one where he smirked and said nobody cares about Epstein anymore. The contrast was jarring, like two different people. I talked to my buddy Mike about it over beers on the weekend. He's a lifelong conservative, a construction foreman, tough as nails. And even he said, "I don't know, man. I'm starting to think we've been played." That word "played" stuck with me, because that's what it felt like. Not just disappointed, betrayed. We weren't expecting perfection. We knew Trump was rough around the edges, but we thought at least he'd fight the battles that mattered. And for a lot of us, that meant exposing the sickness hiding behind power, the kind of sickness that Epstein represented. And now, the man we trusted to shine that light was dimming it himself. I didn't post anything about it right away. I just sat with it, thought about my kids, about what I'd taught them, about all the times I told them to stand up for what's right, even if it's unpopular. I remembered telling my oldest, when he was 10, that sometimes doing the right thing meant questioning the people you once admired. And here I was, wearing a hat that suddenly felt like a lie. That night, I took the hat off and left it on the kitchen counter. Just sat there staring at it like it was some relic from a version of me I wasn't sure I believed in anymore. It's crazy how something so small, a piece of cloth with 4 words, can carry so much weight. I didn't burn it like some folks did. I wasn't angry like that. I was more sad, quietly heartbroken, because it wasn't just about Trump. It was about the hope that maybe, just maybe, someone was finally telling the truth, that someone was going to take on the system and not become it. But now it feels like we were cheering for a man who, when it really counted, looked away. The hardest part was talking to my youngest son, Jake. He's 14. Sharp kid. He came into the room while I was watching that clip again and asked, "Didn't you used to say he'd clean up the mess?" And I didn't have an answer. I just said, "Yeah, I did." Then he asked, "So what happened?" And all I could manage was, "I don't know, buddy. Maybe we all just wanted to believe." And he nodded, like he understood more than I wished he did. That's the thing about being let down by someone you believed in. It doesn't just bruise your pride. It makes you question your judgment, your instincts, your faith in people. For a while, I blamed myself, like I should have seen the signs. But I realize now it wasn't about being fooled. It was about wanting so badly for someone to stand up to the rot that we ignored when the cracks started showing. I'm not saying I hate Trump now. I'm not saying I switch sides. Honestly, I don't even know what side I'm on anymore. All I know is the line between the heroes and the villains is blurrier than it's ever been. And if the guy in the red hat won't speak up when children are involved, then maybe he was never the one. I still believe America can be better, that we need to hold power accountable, that justice should never depend on which party you're in. But I also believe this: if you truly want to make America great again, you don't do it by hiding the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. So yeah, the hat's still sitting on my kitchen counter. I haven't touched it in days, and maybe I won't again. Because sometimes, walking away from something you used to believe in, that's the only way to stay true to what you believed in all along.